So the newly inaugurated President Joe Biden has been touting that he wants to pass another $1.9 trillion of stimulus package, which includes a third stimulus check, additional funding for small businesses, and boosted funding for the unemployment check as well. Now, keep in mind that last month we passed a $900 billion COVID relief, which already includes many of those provisions that I just mentioned. But of course, President Joe Biden wants more in terms of the next stimulus package. And I will say that this newly proposed stimulus package with $1.9 trillion may actually have a shot of getting passed now that the House, the Senate, and the White House are under the control of the Democrat Party. So with that being said, in this video, I'm going to break down what exactly is in the $1.9 trillion stimulus package, what's likely to get passed, and what's not likely to get passed. What are the challenges and hurdles with this stimulus packages? I'll give you all the breakdown in this video. Hey, what's going on, everybody? This is Sam Kwok here, one of the Kwok Brothers, and for the last few weeks, President Joe Biden has been touting that he's been wanting to pass another stimulus package of $1.9 trillion. So this video, I'm going to break down exactly how this benefits you, what can you expect to receive, and if there are any benefits that you need to apply for, we're going to go and talk about those in this video as well. And of course, especially for my business owners watching this, I'll give you tips on how to apply for business grants as well as business funding for your business. And of course, just another reminder to go and subscribe to our channel if you want the latest update and news about the stimulus packages, as well as other content on making money through real estate. Alright guys, so I have 4 pages worth of note. We're going to go one by one as far as what you'll be getting if this stimulus package does get passed. And I'll give you the timing as to when we can expect to see this stimulus package being passed. I don't think it's going to happen right away, but I'll give you some little timeline as to what I think when this stimulus package could be passed and signed by the president. Now, first thing first is that the newly proposed stimulus package now includes a third stimulus check of $1,400. Now, in the last month, when the COVID relief package of $900 billion was passed, it allowed for $600 per adult for these stimulus packages. Now, of course, in order to receive the $600, you have certain income threshold and requirement to make. But most adults who are making less than $75,000 as a single filer and $150,000 as a married joint couple will be receiving the full $600 stimulus check, or $1,200 for joint or married couples. Now, with the new changes that Biden is proposing is that he wants additional $1,400 on top of the $600 that was received, not only for the eligible adults, but also adult dependent as well. So these are the adults over age of 18 that you are still claiming as a dependent on your tax return. So let's say you have a 22-year-old or 21-year-old college student and you're still claiming them as a dependent. That individual, that adult dependent, will now get an additional $1,400 of stimulus package. Additionally, President Joe Biden wants to include some undocumented immigrants to also receive the stimulus package as well. Now, I say some and not all is because there are unique situations where, let's say, a documented or a U.S. citizen is married to an undocumented immigrant. Now, in the last 2 stimulus checks, only the U.S. citizen and permanent residents were receiving the stimulus check. Now, in this new proposal, any undocumented immigrants who are married to a U.S. citizen or a permanent resident could also receive a stimulus check of $1,400. So that's another big proposal that President Joe Biden is proposing with the $1.9 trillion as far as the stimulus check. Now, of course, the big question that you guys are asking is when can we expect this bill, this stimulus check, to also be sent out? Now, my guesstimate based on what the news headlines are saying and what a lot of the political commentators are saying is that we may not see this stimulus package being even talked about or being voted on till probably late February or early March. So if my guesstimation is correct and this bill does get passed, let's say February/March, then we would assume that a couple days later, the IRS will now start printing checks and will start dispersing payments out to those individuals who qualify. Now, moving along to the second item in this proposal is that the proposal now includes a provision where the unemployment checks will be boosted from $300 a week to $400 a week. So right now, the $900 billion COVID relief package that was passed last month allowed for additional $300 of weekly unemployment boosted checks till March 2021. Well, with this new proposal that Joe Biden is proposing, and he's really looking to get the help from Congress to get this passed, he wants an additional $100, so making it $400 a week, retroactively paid, meaning from now till March, he wants, as soon as this is passed, he wants an additional $100 to be paid in arrears to make sure that people get more in terms of weekly payment. The proposal also extends the deadline of March 2021 and pushes it out to 6 more months of September 2021, meaning that any individuals that are qualified for the weekly unemployment boosted checks will not only get $400 a week till March, but they will now be getting it till September 2021. So this is an additional 6 months of weekly paycheck of $400 for unemployment. So again, you guys may have some opinion about that. I don't know what you guys think about that. Go and comment down below. Do you think this is gonna help, or do you think this is not gonna help? I would love to hear your thoughts and ideas about the unemployment benefit checks that the Biden administration is proposing. So that is the second thing that's on the proposal. Now, the third thing on the proposal is that President Joe Biden wants to propose an increase of child tax credit. Now, right now, all families with children under the age of 17 is eligible to receive a $2,000 per child tax credit. Now, with this new proposal, with what Joe Biden is wanting, he wants to increase the child tax credit from $2,000 to $3,000 per child under the age of 17. But if your child or children are under the age of 6, you would get a tax credit of $3,600 for every child that is under 6. So if you have 2 kids that are under the age of 6, you would essentially be getting a $7,200 tax credit that could either be as a refund or added to the tax bill or discounts the tax bill. Now, there seems to be a little bit of confusion as to what a tax credit actually is. Now, a tax credit, what it does, think of it like a gift card that the government gives you to lower down the actual tax bill. Now, most of you guys will probably not owe much taxes. In fact, most of you will probably get a refund. But in the case where you do owe taxes, a tax credit will lower your tax bill itself. Now, this is a little bit different than a tax deduction where it decreases your taxable income, thus lowering the tax bill. A tax credit does not lower your taxable income, but more so lowers the tax bill in itself. So let's say you made $60,000 this year and you happen to owe $1,000 in terms of taxes, let's say when you file your taxes. Now, by receiving tax credit of, let's say, $3,000, now you don't owe $1,000. The government now owes you $2,000 because, well, you owe them $1,000, but they're supposed to give you $3,000. Therefore, you would get a $2,000 check as part of your refund. Whereas a $3,000 tax deduction would simply lower your income from $60,000 down to $57,000, which means that you will still pay taxes, but you would essentially pay less taxes versus obviously not paying taxes at all. So that's kind of the difference between a tax deduction versus a tax credit. Tax credit tax directly the tax bill. Tax deduction attacks the income to which it can be taxed. I hope that this was a little clearer for understanding. I usually have a tablet, but left my tablet at home. So woe is me, right? So that's another item that President Joe Biden is wanting to propose with this $1.9 trillion stimulus package. Number 4 is additional rental assistance and changes to the eviction moratorium. Now, the COVID relief package that was passed last month already includes $25 billion of rental assistance that's going to be distributed to individual states and local government to where it can help tenants to catch up and pay their rent. Now, that's already in place. That's already in play. But President Joe Biden wants to propose an additional $25 billion, making it a total of $50 billion of rental assistance for the last 2 months. So we already have $25 billion going out to the states. President Joe Biden wants to send another $25 billion to states to distribute to the tenants that are struggling right now that can't pay their rent. Also, with this new bill, he wants to include $5 billion exclusively to help with utility payments for those tenants who need to pay their utilities, keep their electricity and gas turned on. So that is the number 4. And also with that number 4 item is that President Joe Biden wants to extend the eviction moratorium till September 2021. Now, if you don't know what an eviction moratorium is, it's simply a temporary ban on eviction. So this way, the landlords cannot file an eviction or actually evict you for non-payment of rent. Now, one thing to keep in mind is that this only applies to properties that have been financed and purchased using a federally backed mortgages. Now, not all mortgages are federally backed, meaning the government backs it and insures it. But usually most mortgages today are. So I would say, and this is not a statistics I want to quote, but I want to say 90% of all mortgages out there are probably being backed by the federal government. So only those types of mortgages are included in the eviction moratorium. But also, this does not preclude from any local or state eviction ban that your local state and county may have. So your local state and county may still say, I don't care what mortgages that the landlord has, all evictions are banned, and courts may just say, nope, we're not going to hear this right now. So there is an eviction moratorium set for March 2021. It is set to expire in March 2021. But Joe Biden wants to push this out to September 2021, which allows tenants more breaks. Not the best thing for the landlord, but hopefully with the rental assistance, it would kind of have a balancing act. It would pay, obviously, landlords the rent that they're looking for and also protects the tenants from getting evicted. So that is essentially the eviction moratorium as well as the rental assistance. So that's number 4. Number 5 is that the proposal now includes a change in the federal minimum wage to $15 an hour. So right now, the federal minimum wage is $7.25. Now, keep in mind that each state has their own minimum wage provision. Now, I don't know how I feel about this whole increase of $15 an hour minimum wage. We have done some opinions and other videos about it. I just want to give you guys the straight facts right now for this video, but if you want to hear my thoughts about this, I have a separate video that I made, and I'll include that down below. But right now, I don't really see how this fits in the stimulus package, but obviously, this is to help some of the low-income or low-wage earning individuals to get more wages. Again, that's just quoting out the fact for you guys. Last but not least is that the stimulus package also now includes funding, always has been, but it's including funding programs for small business owners. Now, Joe Biden is proposing a separate $15 billion worth of grants for businesses that are struggling right now. Now, this is not the same thing as the EIDL or the Paycheck Protection Program, which both programs are open right now and they're accepting applications. I have both videos down below on how to get more information for your businesses. But President Joe Biden wants to propose an additional $15 billion for small businesses, giving them grants to survive and basically stay afloat during the pandemic. So that's additional funding for small businesses. Now, I do want to say that there's a lot of myth going around saying that these types of programs ultimately benefit big corporations and big businesses, which I don't think is true. I've done some research, I've gone to the SBA website, looked at the statistics, and it seems like most of the funding has gone to small businesses with employees anywhere between 2 to 10 employees. And these are a lot of the small businesses that you may shop in your local area that desperately needs funding for them to survive. So I don't think it's true that when people tell me or when people say, oh, most of these programs are only going towards big businesses. In fact, the Small Business Administration, SBA, limits on who gets the loan or who gets these types of programs. In fact, I find that the SBA limits big businesses from applying because the rule is that if you want to apply for these programs, you must have less than 300 to 500 employees, which obviously is a lot of small businesses that are out there. So I don't think it's necessarily true that big businesses got a quote-unquote bailout money. I think this type of program, either through SBA PPP or EIDL or the EIDL grant, they were specifically targeted to businesses that are Main Street, smaller businesses, the mom and pop stores that are at risk of shutting down for good. So yeah, I mean, this is a good thing for small businesses, and we need people to be state employed throughout this pandemic. By the way, if you guys want some more information about how the Paycheck Protection Program works, as well as the EIDL loan programs, if you are a small business owner, again, I'll leave the video instructions and explanations down below so that you can get more information to get more funding and help from the SBA. So now, the remaining proposal basically gives funding for vaccination, COVID-19 vaccination and treatment, and also funding for state and local government to basically fund the infrastructure to fight the virus. Now, although these provisions don't necessarily impact us directly, but what I'm really hoping at the end of the day is that there will be better infrastructure in place to fight the virus so that we can start reopening the economy again. We don't have to wear masks. Hopefully we'll be done with this whole COVID-19 thing by summer. Only I could hope. But yeah, these fundings are basically going towards fighting the virus, funding state and local government to give them some chance of fighting the virus at a local level. So overall, I covered some of the more popular proposals that are on the table right now that ultimately benefits you, your businesses, and your job, stimulus checks, business funding, and so on. So if I missed any provisions or proposal items that you want to hear, go and comment down below. I would love to cover it and do some research. With every one of these videos, I do a tremendous amount of research, or at least have a research team to go and research and find out things for you guys. So go and comment down below if I missed anything, and I appreciate you guys watching. If you guys enjoyed this update, go and subscribe to our channel. I usually cover some of the most important ones instead of talking about all the fluff and drama. Go ahead and subscribe if you guys want the latest update, and we always have videos on how to make more money through real estate and investing and so on. So I appreciate you guys watching, and we'll see you in the next video.